Welcome to Three Nice Things, the podcast that has decided we've been so mean to these movies, it's time to say three nice things. You can find more about this show and others like it at our network's website, radiomeanwhile.com, where we have a forum for you to share your thoughts on this and upcoming movies. Follow us on Twitter at NiceThingsPod, and please rate, subscribe, and share this show on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcast. I'm Eric Mickles, known online as Dusk vs. Tweak, and with me is Kendra Mickles, otherwise known as Miss Musicbox 91.
Hello!
And also with us is Julia Kusenza.
Hello!
And today, we are talking about the 1993 film Super Mario Bros. Based on the popular Nintendo video game of the same name, Super Mario Bros. Was released in May 1993. Filmed on a budget of $48 million.
That's not true.
Yep, $48 million.
Oh my word.
For fun fact about its budget, Jurassic Park came out about a month later, only cost about $20 more million. So maybe if somebody had $20 million in their pocket at the time, they could have made something on the par of Jurassic Park.
I don't know.
Well, filmed on a budget of $48 million, the movie went on to make $20 million domestically, according to Box Office Mojo. Box Office Mojo did not have worldwide gross, so the $20 million is all we know, which means it's quite a bomb. It currently rests at a critic score of 14% on Rotten Tomato, faring better with the audience score at 28%.
Wow.
All right, Kendra will describe the plot.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So there's these plumbers, and they're the Mario brothers, and they end up meeting this girl, Daisy, who is working on a dinosaur dig.
Woo.
And she gets kidnapped by these two guys and taken through this wibbly wall, and they follow her. And then the whole movie they're trying to rescue her, but basically she gets kidnapped by King Koopa, and they have to rescue her, and chaos ensues.
That's true. We're going to share our histories with this movie. We're going to see when we first saw this movie, and if it's been in the rotation of our movie watching since our first scene. I'll go first.
Yes.
Because I believe I saw it before either of you in life. I saw this movie in May 1993.
What?
I was 7 years old, and I went with my uncle and his wife, and we saw this in theaters, and I remember being kind of scared at certain scenes, especially at the end of the movie. Spoiler warning for anybody who hasn't seen Super Mario Brothers, the movie. We're gonna
pause right now and watch it.
The movie might be spoiled for you. We make no apologies of this. At the end, I remember being kind of scared as a kid. The scene where like Lena has the meteor rock, and she's running down that tunnel. I remember this is intense and scary as a 7-year-old, and she gets electrocuted and then thrown into a wall.
Oh yeah,
she sure does.
I remember Koopa turning into a T-Rex, and that was scary, and there were a lot of laser guns, and I didn't really know if they were deadly or not. So that's where, and then when it ended, I was just like, I guess I saw a movie that was called The Mario Brothers, and I've been playing Mario as far back as I can remember, and I'm not entirely sure the child in me connected the two, the movie and the games, the way the movie wanted me to.
totally separate feels. This was
Yeah.
a very dark, gritty
Yeah,
Mario world, and Mario isn't like that.
that is correct. I then saw it again when I was 14. I was reading a history book on Nintendo called Game Over, and they had talked about the production of this movie, and I was like, it has been a long time since I've seen this. So 7 years. And I had this weird nostalgia for it, so I got my mom to rent it, and I watched it, and I gotta tell you, at that time, at 14, I kinda dug it. I laughed, I thought some scenes were exciting, and I actually was okay with some of the things they did. And then I watched it again for this podcast. And being that, I think that's it. I think it's only been the 3 times. And I gotta tell you, I did not experience the same nostalgia I did when I was 14. this was a rough time. It actually made me kind of sad. It's like watching it and seeing it called Mario Brothers. It felt like a part of me was taken away. So, I don't know. A part of my own existence was now put on screen and called the Super Mario Brothers, and it was stolen from me, and I can't ever get it back. You were there, Kendra, when I was watching it. I was sad.
Yeah.
I was
a fun
surprised.
time.
There were a lot of things I remembered liking, and I didn't like it this time. So, there you go. That's what happened.
14-year-olds is like, it's the ideal age.
Maybe. I
for
think.
This movie.
I mean, at 14, I think I knew it was bad, but I was like, didn't know how bad. But anyway, Kendra, history with this movie.
So I had only seen, before we watched it the other night, I had only seen a couple of scenes from this movie. I think I had seen most of the beginning. I remember them being like strapped in that machine and him like, changing them into weird dinosaur people. And I remember them at the end, like I remember them coming back, but I didn't remember anything in between. So, but I knew its reputation for being one of the worst video game, if not just movies, ever. This was my first time watching it all the way through. I shan't watch it again. My biggest issues with it were, for most of the movie, Mario is wearing green and Luigi is wearing red.
Can I just say that I wrote that down because that bugged me as well.
It was so frustrating until the very end where they put on the overalls and then they switch colors for some reason.
It's funny what they're wearing.
Yeah.
It's
like
not.
Luigi's wearing red, but it's a hoodie.
Yeah.
But Mario's wearing like a polo shirt, like a button polo shirt that's green.
No, Mario's, at first he's wearing just like a regular green jacket, and then he changes into a green blazer.
Yeah.
And then Mario puts on a yellow suit while Luigi puts on a red one. It just makes no sense.
Yeah, he wears a yellow suit.
Yeah.
It doesn't make
maybe that's supposed to be a reference to Wario.
Well, poorly
I
done.
don't like it.
Poorly done.
I'm sorry.
My other big problem was just that it was really, like, all the fungus was really gross.
Oh, it was so gross.
Just the fungus being everywhere, and, like, the fungus king guy, who was, like, Daisy's dad, really grossed me out. So, those were my biggest issues, among other things. But, yeah, not the best of times with this movie. Definitely don't have nostalgia for it.
Save that for your podcast, okay? Save that for nostalgia. Me this.
I would never bring this up for my podcast.
All right, Julia.
Yes, okay. So I also did not have much history with this movie.
Well, you weren't born when it came out.
Correct. But I'm pretty sure that I was there for the time you watched it when you were 14.
That makes sense,
Because
yeah. You would have been born at that time.
Yes, I would have been probably not even 4 years old yet if you were, well, then yeah, I would have been 3.
Yeah, sorry. I know, an older brother's supposed to protect his siblings, and here I am just leaving Super Mario Brothers on the TV for anybody to stumble upon.
Well, I don't actually remember any of it, but
Yeah.
it's funny because when you first mentioned the movie to me for the podcast, I knew exactly what you were talking about.
Yeah.
And I don't know how else I would have known that if it wasn't for you.
Yeah.
But the first time I really, really watched it was only 2 days ago.
For the podcast, yeah.
For the podcast.
Yeah.
And I have to say, at first, I didn't hate it. I think where it started going downhill for me was when the wall started wiggling, like Kendra said, the wiggly wall.
So Dino Hatton.
Yeah. Although it wasn't too terrible. There were some funny parts, but it's funny because the first thing I wrote down that I didn't like about it as well was the color thing.
Mm-hmm.
But another thing that bothered me was when they finally did put on the correct colors, they weren't even wearing overalls.
Yeah.
Were they not?
No.
Oh, they were like jumpsuits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think they were meant to look like overalls, but all that suspense and
Yeah.
not a single overall in sight.
Yeah.
It was very disappointing.
So you're saying in retrospect, you would have just preferred watching Mario and Luigi be plumbers for 2 hours in New York
Yeah.
City.
Sure.
I mean, hey,
Yeah.
if it
Yeah.
would have been better than what I watched, then sure, why not?
Maybe Mario tells Luigi to go fix the van, but Luigi gets a new van they can't afford, so he's like, "How are we gonna pay this?"
It's
and
like
then
a
they have
Seinfeld episode.
yeah, they just have to do plumbing jobs, and they get more ridiculous as they go along.
So another thing that I had a problem with was the fact that everybody was there except for Peach.
Yeah.
Can I just ask, who in the world is Daniela?
No, not Danielle. Oh, Daniela. Yes.
Yeah.
Mario's girl. Do you know? Apparently,
Oh,
in
yeah.
a scripted ending, Mario and Daniela were gonna have like a very storybook wedding. So yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Apparently, this is based more around. They say the setting was inspired by Super Mario World, and that's where Daisy's there and everything. But I don't. I don't. Super Mario World's a very different game than this is a movie. So
True. Is Peach not there for Super Mario World?
no, Peach sits that one out as far as I can remember. It's been a while since. Maybe she's at the end credits. Anybody who knows I'm wrong, please don't correct me. Yeah, there's no Peach. She's not there. This is Daisy, who is traditionally Luigi's girlfriend. Here's some actors who dodged the bullet for this movie. Okay, Julia, I'm sorry to share this with you because I know
You say Danny DeVito.
you are the biggest fan on this planet. But Danny DeVito was almost Mario.
Oh my goodness gracious! I'm really trying to not scream right now because I know
No.
it will hurt your ears,
Yes, yeah. Yeah.
that's some big news for me.
Yeah. We'll talk about it more. But Danny DeVito, you can see where they were going with that. Tom Hanks was almost Luigi.
Oh boy.
But Turner and Hooch and Joe versus the Volcano didn't perform well at the box office, so he was kind of considered out of fashion. He wasn't considered like a box office
That's so
star
funny,
at the
'cause
time.
Isn't Joe versus the Volcano like a cult classic now?
Yeah,
don't
people like Joe
love
versus-
that
yeah,
movie.
yeah.
I've never seen it, but
Well,
I even like that movie.
well, luckily for Tom Hanks,
Yeah.
he didn't get a third strike with the Mario Brothers movie. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Michael Keaton were both considered for King Koopa.
I could see
Arnold
that.
Schwarzenegger.
I gotta tell you, none of my nice things involve Dennis Hopper as Koopa. I actually think this movie would be so much more watchable with Michael Keaton as Koopa. He would have played this movie with a weird, crazy energy, and I think we might consider Mario. It would have that like really.
Really, if
Scene-
Keaton was in it, it would have been more watchable.
I think Keaton would have brought a much more scene chewing attitude to the role of Koopa than Dennis Hopper. I think Dennis Hopper tries to choose the scenery, and it just never totally lands for me. Like it's not like Rajulia in the Street Fighter movie, who's just, I mean, I don't think there's any scenery left at the end of that. I don't think he saved any for friends or whatnot. But I think Michael Keaton would have had a little bit more fun as Koopa.
Now, what if it was Michael Keaton as Koopa and Danny DeVito as Mario in the same
man.
movie?
Yeah,
Oh,
then
man.
we'd be talking.
Is this before or after Batman?
This would be after Batman Returns.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
So it would have been a beautiful reunion.
it would have been a beautiful reunion of two beautiful people. Okay, here's some facts. We'll just go over about the movie real quick, and maybe they'll come up in later things. The husband and wife director combo were known on the set as controlling, but they also didn't communicate with each other all the time. So
Perfect combo.
sometimes that one would do something and hadn't told the other. The script would change so often that the actors stopped paying attention. The production designer had previously worked on Blade Runner, which...
You know what? I kind of can see that,
Yep,
actually.
yep. We'll have a lot of comments on the production design. I think he definitely brought his unique style to this. Dennis Hopper, who I just kind of insulted his performance, but we'll get to the nice stuff soon. Dennis Hopper was supposed to be there for 5 weeks, but instead he was there for 17.
Oh, wow.
And Bob Hoskins considers this the biggest mistake of his entire life. There's an interview. I don't have it with. It's from Variety. Variety. I think it was 2011 or thereabout. They interviewed Bob Hoskins and they were like, "What's the worst movie you ever did?" And he said Super Mario Brothers. And they're like, "What's a mistake you wish you could do over?" It's like Super Mario Brothers. Like, if you had a time machine and could go back, what would you do? He's like, "I wouldn't do Super Mario Brothers."
You
So
know, I actually read somewhere that he showed up drunk a lot to
Yeah.
the movie just because he couldn't deal with it.
I think Bob Hoskins, I mean, he's still a very well-regarded actor, right? Like, people don't look at this and say he's a bad actor.
Thanks to Roger
no,
Rabbit.
I don't know. Bob Hoskins is not considered a bad actor because he was in Super Mario Brothers.
All right.
John Leguizamo is actually kind of okay with this movie. He's been honest about the production, but he also is kind of proud to be part of this weird cultural touchstone. And
That's the way to go.
he, out of all the actors that could be interviewed, he's pretty. Actually, Samantha Mathis is also okay with it. She says she sometimes still gets recognized as Daisy, and that's cool for her.
They should cash in. They should be going to cons
Yeah.
and letting people get autographs.
Well, Leguizamo has
yeah,
other stuff he's
still
doing.
like a
yeah.
real actor.
Was he in anything big before this movie?
Oh, I don't have his whole
He's
career
so
in front
young
of me.
in this movie.
Yeah, he's young.
He's
I
like a
don't
little
know.
baby.
I think he did some stand up before this. I don't have his full career, but no, I think it's post Mario Brothers that he truly starts to bloom.
This was the stepping
Yeah.
stone.
Nintendo, of all companies in the world, was extremely hands off with the movie.
That blows my mind.
I won.
Their train of thought was the Mario franchise was strong enough that the movie could be its own thing, and that the Mario video games could be their own thing. So
Boy, oh boy.
they're known as a pretty controlling company with their properties these days, but in 1993 they were much more hands off here, and
I
maybe
bet you this is why.
Shigeru Miyamoto, the creator of Mario, is quoted as saying, "In the end, it was a very fun project that they put a lot of effort into. The one thing that I still have some regrets about is that the movie may have tried to get a little too close to what the Mario Brother video games were. And in that sense, it became a movie that was about a video game, rather than being an entertaining movie in and of itself." Nintendo has not made another live-action movie since.
I'm going to disagree with that statement.
Oh, you hear that, Miyamoto?
It doesn't feel like a fun
Yeah.
Mario video, like light.
I can't remember where I read this. I don't remember if it was online or if it was in the book Game Over, but apparently the people who came from Nintendo to see the movie at the premiere just sat there very politely, smiled, and they were very kind about it all. Nobody put up a fuss or complained. So I think Nintendo was very giving to the production of this. I guess enough of the history with this movie, and enough of us complaining. It's time to say our three nice things. So we've talked about the things we don't like, and you know what? We could go all day.
I haven't talked about all the things I didn't like.
Yeah, there's plenty of podcasts out there complaining about that have talked about how bad the Mario Brothers movie is.
Can I mention one more thing?
Okay.
Just one more.
All right.
I think one of the worst parts of that movie was their handshake. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, it's the Mario handshake.
But
But didn't Bob Hoskins go like, whoa? Didn't he like do?
they just intertwine their hands and wiggle them together.
Yeah, they're like,
Yeah.
wow. Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
they're like Bill and Ted.
Worst
Yeah.
version of the rocket power
Oh,
handshake.
you want to
Much worse.
know a piece of legacy about this film? Miyamoto, the creator of Mario again, he has went on to state that he now considers the names Mario and Luigi Mario to be canon.
That was the funniest part of this movie for me. I screamed. I knew they were the Mario Brothers, but
Yeah.
never in my life before watching this have I ever heard Mario and
Yeah.
Luigi Mario said out loud.
Yeah,
And
me-
it absolutely killed me.
I think it was recently he even said, he's like, yeah, in the movie they called them Mario and then Luigi Mario, and Miyamoto's like, and I guess that's what their names are now. I don't know if it's ever going to be stated in the games or not, but Miyamoto considers their names Mario and Luigi Mario.
I think that's wonderful.
All right, well that's
pretty
a
funny.
nice thing.
Yeah.
That's our group nice thing. The
Yeah.
three of us bring that nice thing together. That's Miyamoto's nice thing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Miyamoto. We appreciate that one nice thing you had to say. All right, time to go. Who wants to start? Who wants to say their first nice thing?
I do.
Julia will start.
Mostly because my nice things are pretty silly, I think.
Well, we have to.
I wonder if we're gonna have some of the same nice things.
No.
We'll
You guys are definitely, I I would say more put together than me, so I think yours would be a little smarter than
All
mine.
right.
I don't know.
All right. Go ahead. What's your first nice thing, Julia? Your first
My
nice thing to
first-
say about the Super Mario Brothers movie.
My first nice thing to say about this movie is that I truly enjoyed the pixelated dinosaurs at the beginning, as well as the skunk.
The skunk that gets chased off because he's a mammal?
I was just happy that he was there, to be honest.
Okay.
It was just,
What
I was
are we
pleasantly
talking- when is
surprised to see
this?
him there.
The movie opens with a couple of like claymation dinosaurs.
Oh
No,
yeah.
they're animated. They're all pixelated.
It's animated, it's pixelated.
Yes.
That's where you hear the Mario Brothers theme come in. You hear the do do do
Yes.
do do, and you're like, "Hey, some Mario music's gonna be in this movie." Never again. Never again in this movie. But what's his name? Dan Castellaneta.
Castellaneta.
Basically, the voice of Homer Simpson narrates
Oh.
that opening where he's like, a long time ago, dinosaurs were the bee's knees. And then the dinosaurs would talk to each other like, life is good, isn't it?
Yep.
So you would have watched the whole. Are you saying you would have watched the whole movie about those dinosaurs?
I absolutely would have.
Oh boy.
100%, and I probably would have enjoyed it more.
Yeah. So you like the. I remembered liking that opening as a kid because I just liked anything with dinosaurs. But
Plus, it felt very nostalgic. Just the animation style was very nice to see.
yeah. Well, it's.
I say.
It
something
is
like
nice
that.
to hear the Mario theme.
Yeah.
So there's a
Agreed.
lot of. It's hard to think of like other video game movies where they like bring in the actual video game soundtrack as like part of the score, and I mean it's not really. It's just like the opening sound effect. Though there are Mario sound effects in this movie. You can hear like the 1-up sound effect and some other things.
There was no yahoos.
No.
Whee!
There was a couple. Forget about it. But
There were
But no, it's
so
a me.
many. I wrote down 4 nice things,
what?
but
no.
That how?
I'm
How?
How many times have we said 3 nice things on this podcast?
I'm so
I-
sorry. Okay,
I
I'll
was-
eliminate one. I'll
Okay.
eliminate one. So this nice thing was the thing I wrote down, and then I just looked at it today and was like, "What the heck does this mean?" But now I see that someone on Twitter actually mentioned this, which is the whole running joke about him ordering the pizza. Really made me laugh.
All right, official PSASD on Twitter says the scene where President Koopa orders pizza.
I thought it was so funny. It made me laugh.
So are you talking about just the scene where he orders the pizza, or the
but
running
like,
gag?
The running gag, because
Yeah.
it comes back a couple times where he's like,
He's fighting the Mario Brothers,
yeah,
and he's
then
like,
he,
"Where's my pizza?"
Yeah, where's my pizza?
Yep.
And the guy's like, "Oh, hey, King Koopa, what kind of pizza do you want?"
Yeah.
It
It's
just made me laugh. I
Dennis
thought-
Hopper's delivery there is very
Yes,
funny.
that part he was funny.
He was just
like
like,
that-
"Hey, King Koopa here.
Yeah,
How's it going?"
yeah, that whole scene
Yeah.
really made me laugh.
Yeah, I remember we were watching it, and you did crack up because the third part of the joke is he's got the gun, and he's about to like shoot, and they're like, "Sir, your pizza's here," and he's like, "Not now."
Yeah.
See, yeah, I still have
The
it.
pizzas.
So you-
I thought that was random, and that was the one part where I thought Dennis Hopper was funny.
Oh,
In the
little
whole movie.
backhanded.
I mean,
comment.
I don't think he was trying to be funny in the rest of the movie, but there, I thought that there was a little bit of comedy.
I'll share my silly one then first,
Okay.
I guess. This is a dinosaur movie, guys.
Totally is.
Everybody in Dino Hatton is a dinosaur. There's dinosaurs everywhere. And listen, for people who don't know, my favorite thing in the world is dinosaurs.
It's true.
There are other things that compete with it, but no, I love
Are
me.
there?
I don't know, probably not. I love dinosaurs, and as bad as some of this stuff is, it's still like I'm watching a movie about dinosaurs, and this movie is never as bad as I remember Theodore Rex being of a dinosaur movie. So, I mean, you have Yoshi, who is, I don't like that Yoshi design as Yoshi, but he still looks cool. And apparently people from Jurassic Park actually like had stopped by and were very impressed with the Yoshi animatronic.
Well.
And they had thought about using some of it, but they were, I think they were a little too close to finishing Jurassic Park since it comes out in a month later. So I mean, that's high praise that you made really in-depth dinosaur that the people who made Jurassic Park were impressed. So everybody in it's a dinosaur. The whole world is just run by dinosaurs. Koopa is a T-Rex. I mean, I like that. And they even play Walk the Dinosaur.
Yeah.
I wrote that down as well. Not as a nice thing, but I mentioned it.
At the dance club, and that was the first time I had ever heard the song. And so for like all my childhood and teen years, I only knew Walk the Dinosaur as that song for Mario that I loved. So
We played that at our wedding.
we played that at our wedding reception.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you totally did, didn't you?
I was out there on the dance floor with some friends walking the dinosaur.
Yep.
Pretending to be a pterodactyl at one point, a T-Rex at one point. Yeah.
That's just daily Eric stuff.
The whole scene with Mario and is it Bertha?
Yes.
Big Bertha. Who, by the way, I was trying to remember who Bertha is, but Bertha is the giant fish that swallows you in the Mario games.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah,
that is funny.
there's a few. She's the fish. I had spent the whole movie trying to figure out who Lena was. I don't know I can't remember if she was a Koopa kid. I don't think she is. Though she looks like she could have been like a Birdo reference. Who's Lena?
She's Mrs. Dursley from Harry Potter.
Oh, yes. But yeah, so as somebody who likes dinosaurs, it's a dinosaur movie. It's more of a like a weird sci-fi dinosaur movie than it is a Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah.
So the only problem is all the dinosaurs are the bad guys, except for Yoshi.
Yeah.
I guess Bertha, but she's supposed to be a fish.
And the one henchman who
The Goomba.
helps. Yeah, the Goomba.
The Goombas.
Harmonica
Look, we're saying nice things, so I'm not going to say anything about the Goombas.
I'm just saying he was a dinosaur who helped
Yeah.
Daisy.
I just want to mention one more thing about the Goombas that made me laugh. It's not my nice thing, but it did make me laugh. It's that when they devolve somebody, they turn into a Goomba, right? But when they evolve somebody and they set it to advanced, it just makes their brains bigger.
Yeah.
And nothing else. I thought that was pretty hilarious.
You thought they should have like wings?
Well,
after-
I thought something should happen.
Yeah.
You get devolved and you turn into this giant thing with a tiny little head.
Yeah.
On the advanced setting,
Yeah.
your brain gets a little bigger.
Yeah. What you
Yes,
meant.
so I actually had to watch this movie twice because the first time I watched it, I fell asleep.
Oh.
So when I went over my notes the second day from the night before, all I had written on one page was Luigi Toy Face. It took me a good minute to figure out what in the world.
Yep.
So it's the scene in the beginning, and they're in their apartment when Mario and Luigi are talking back and forth, and Luigi puts the technical term for it is a pinpoint impression needle art frame.
Mm.
He puts it over his face. He talks to Mario, and it made me laugh, and that's all there was to it.
Mhm.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah. He just I remember that when I watched it when I was 14, I was watching it with some friends, and we all laughed at that too.
It was the first thing in that movie that made me laugh, so I figured I should include it as
Luigi gets some decent gags, I guess.
Yeah.
Second nice thing.
Um,
You have
so-
4.
I'm only going to talk about 3.
I barely have 3.
So my next nice thing kind of goes along with what you were just saying, Eric. I actually put Yoshi as one of my things that I enjoyed about this movie. Not the way I would not in a million years have chosen him to look that way. But as it was happening, I was like, fine, this is the way Yoshi looks. And I thought he was cute. And I actually felt for him when he was getting kicked around.
He got stabbed.
Yeah, it made me really sad.
He gets stabbed and then he's like,
Yeah, and he helps Daisy.
he uses his tongue.
Yeah,
He uses the long tongue to grab Koopa. No,
Yeah,
Lena?
Great.
it was Lena.
He grabs
Yes.
Lena's legs with the giant Yoshi tongue.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
he doesn't then swallow Lena and poop her out as an egg.
That would have been funny.
Yeah.
Nope. Instead, we get to see her turn into a literal skeleton.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once I accepted that this was the way Yoshi was gonna be, I was fine with it, and I don't know. I enjoyed.
He's
him.
got big sad eyes.
Yeah. Things like that always remind me of our dog Scooter. I'm always like, oh Scooter, I love you so much.
Oh my word. So yeah, big sad eyes, little sound, likes being pet. He closes his eyes. I mean, the animatronic's impressive.
Yeah,
So-
it did. I mean, it looked good. And then if it was another movie, I think I would have liked it even more.
Is that the cutest live-action dinosaur you've seen, then? Yoshi?
I don't know. I bet there's probably some cute stuff in Jurassic Park.
I've never heard you say that dinosaur is cute.
Well, when the Velociraptor hatches and they're like
Oh, yeah, that's scary, though. That's creepy.
Yeah,
You realize
that is
how far...
creepy.
You realize where science has gone and that we're in trouble at
Yeah.
that scene. That
Yeah.
represents the birth of a new
Okay,
world we can't get... Okay.
let's not get on a Jurassic
All right.
Park run or we'll never get off.
All right. My next nice thing is I guess the pizza thing is funny. I like when he orders the pizza. I don't know if like the other like where's my pizza is funny. And there's a lot of jokes in here that don't land for me. There's a lot of Mario references that do not do anything for me. But the bomb scene, I have always loved. I've always liked the bomb. When I was a kid, I think I thought it was hilarious and also awesome that the bomb was there. And it's just everyone is so afraid of the bomb. So
Yeah.
Mario takes out this bomb, and it's this little tiny little bomb with a little wind up and those little feet. They don't really go. He's not really walking forward. It's waddling.
Yeah.
He puts it down, and it just waddles towards Koopa so slowly and almost harmlessly, and then it falls. And Mario's like, "Oh no!" And Koopa's like, "You idiot!" Then we like follow the bomb through his journey, and like people are like driving and like panicking. Everybody's screaming like, "It's a bomb!" And they're running. And at one point, a guy driving his car is like, "Bomb!" and hits the brakes, just slams, and just makes it. Meanwhile, the bomb is just simply just walking along, and what's so funny is in the game as a kid, in like the first 3 Mario games on the Nintendo, but bombs are terrifying. They're so little, and in the third one, I remember their explosions being so big. I was so afraid, and so watching in the movie of just people being so terrified of the bomb, and then the joke actually pays off because it's a big explosion that helps them beat Koopa. So yeah.
Are the bombs that small compared to Mario in other
No.
games? Because like in Super Mario 64 that we just
They're
played,
like knee high.
They're big.
Yeah. Well, if it was proportionally the same in the game as it is in the movie, you wouldn't be able to see it. But no, I think it's one of those pieces of comedy that works as a piece of comedy and works as a piece of a reference to the Mario games in a way that maybe nothing else in the movie does. I think you can leave this movie as a Mario fan thinking, yeah, the bomb was pretty good though. That's my nice thing. I've liked it every time I've watched this movie, and I was happy that it still held up today.
Yeah, it's
so.
pretty funny.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's small and like waddles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bomb!
And it is a good reference. Because there are a lot of just like kind of throwaway
Yeah.
references.
Like the
the
Flop
names
Brothers,
of
the
the
Bullet
names
Brothers.
of the places. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Julia.
Me again already.
Yep. What's your third nice thing?
Watching a baby hatch from an egg was pretty hilarious.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Baby Daisy.
Yep. Only because it was at the very beginning and I had no idea where like the story was really going.
It is surprising how calm the nuns are about it.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think a bunch of Catholic nuns would be like, "Oh, this is as the Lord intended."
It was just so random. It really made me laugh. But,
Alright.
Another thing that made me laugh was at the very end when the king comes back, and I don't think they ever established that he had a name, right?
He's
king.
just the king, yeah, the fungus king. I actually on Wikipedia it says King Reznor, so I don't know where that comes
Who
from.
the heck is that?
That's yeah, I
Daisy's
don't know.
dad.
Yeah. So what do you have to say about Lance Henriksen, who is actually a pretty well-known actor? He was in the Alien franchises and everything, so I guess he was just like, I'll step in for 5 minutes.
For 2 seconds.
Yeah.
At the very end when he finally comes back, it made me laugh that he was so very nonchalant about the whole thing.
Yeah,
he
he
wasn't super happy to be back, and oh my
Yeah.
gosh, he was just like, oh, that's cool, no
Yeah.
big deal. Those
Yeah.
plumbers were pretty dope. Like, that's it.
Yeah, his line is, love those plumbers. He doesn't just say, I love those plumbers, I don't think. He's just like, love those plumbers. He's
Yeah.
covered
He's
in all the
just-
goo, and he's just,
Ugh.
He's just so chill about the whole
Yeah.
thing. Like, yeah, this is cool.
Yeah.
Like, great, I'm back. Great, wonderful.
It is, in Mario 3, whenever you get to the end castle of a world, the king is always transformed into something. And then Toad is like, oh no, the king has been transformed, what will we do? And when you defeat the ship and get the wand back from the Koopa Kid, the king is back to normal. So I guess that's another thing that the movie
Right.
pulls from none of them are ever just gross snot buckets of fungus. But
Usually they're crabs.
yeah, crabs or
Crab.
little frogs, a dog wearing an oversized hat. But no,
And he's much happier in the game about
Yeah.
being back, too.
yeah, Toad is always so happy. He's always jumping up and down.
Oh,
But all right, Kendra.
Okay.
You have 4 nice things, and you're
I
straight.
know, yeah. No, I just
I have one more, too, actually.
What? Do you guys know what this is called?
Yes, but can I just say what it is real
All right,
quick?
go ahead.
I just really love Luigi's rainbow belt. That's it. I thought it was a
Rainbow
nice
belt.
touch, made me happy.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a
Huh.
little bit of sunshine.
Yeah.
And that, sad.
Yeah, Luigi's a real 90s kid. Only 90 kids will get Luigi's costume.
My next nice thing is I did not at first like Iggy and Spike at all, but after they get their brains enhanced, I actually thought they were really funny.
What?
Like the way they were like, indubitably, yes, quite. And they were like talking really like, they just like everything they said cracked me up. So,
Wow.
yeah, I know. It was weird because I did not like them at all at first. But
Okay.
after that happened, I was like, all right, I'm on board. And then they like kind of become, like, don't they kind of help them out
Yeah.
at the end too?
Yeah.
So, yeah, every time they popped up and were saying smart things,
Mhm.
that made me laugh, and I thought those actors like did a good job doing that.
Yeah, I don't think they're funny when they're smart. I
Really?
actually, they make me laugh when Spike walks into the pane of glass. The 2 guys are carrying the glass, and Spike walks into the glass. That makes me laugh. When they get transformed, I'm like, they don't really seem smart. And
Right.
I think that's why
They
it's
still
funny.
seem
They're
kinda
just saying
dumb.
like big words. Yeah.
Right.
it's
'Cause
like
it's
a
the way they
I
treat
guess
each other.
they were evolved to the point of intelligence where they knew how to pretend to be smart. All right, so Iggy and Spike won you over.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they did in the end,
All
and I thought they had some pretty funny lines. Some
Okay.
pretty funny parts.
All right. My last nice thing to say about this movie is, and I feel kind of strange saying this because I don't. It's weird. I'm Bob Hoskins. He's perfect for the role, and in a better Mario movie, he would have been. It would have been great, and I don't think he's given the material to ever be good. He doesn't give a performance in this movie that saves the movie for me. But I think you can tell he's still doing the best that he can. And he's Bob Hoskins, and he's been in Roger Rabbit and a whole bunch of other great things. And he's gonna take this like a champ, you know?
He definitely does not phone it in.
I don't think he phones it in.
He goes for it.
And some other people, we'll read some of the comments from Twitter and Facebook as well, but him and Luigi do actually kind of have a brotherly vibe. It's weird because I don't know how much older Bob Hoskins is I don't know how much older Mario is to Luigi.
Yeah.
But he says that Mario raised him and everything, so that's part of it. But it's not... Their chemistry is actually something you can believe, that they're brothers and they work together and they make up for each other's faults and whatnot. That's a nice
I
thing.
agree with that.
Bob, again, I
think-
don't think you should watch this for Bob Hoskins' performance as
No.
Mario,
No.
but I think if you're watching it, he doesn't offend you as Mario. Julia would have been happier with Danny DeVito.
Yeah, that's.
But I actually think Bob Hoskins is a better choice than DeVito. I think Hoskins looks the part more, and I think he actually I think he brings a warmth to it that I don't think DeVito would have had. We posted this on Twitter that we were doing this podcast, and a lot of people responded. What happened was actually the Super Mario Brothers movie archive, their Twitter account, they're pretty big in keeping the Mario movie alive. This movie has its fans. A lot of people actually responded to us saying that this is unironically their favorite movie.
Wow.
So, to each their own. It's all subjective, and I can see people coming away and being like, "Yeah, I love this. It didn't click for me."
I feel like if you have enough nostalgia for it, I could definitely see.
Yeah. Save it for nostalgia. Me this.
I'm sorry.
Did you guys know that Kendra has a podcast? A nostalgia-based podcast where they say nostalgia quite a bit.
We do, yes.
So anyways, the Super Mario Brothers Archive retweeted this, so thank you for that. But my apologies to anyone who I didn't include on this. There were so many comments, we couldn't read them all, but I'm going to read as many as I can here. Super Mario Movie on Twitter says, it's one of the most faithful video game adaptation. The creatures are very memorable, and the visual effects still hold up. Hashtag trust the fungus.
I would say the creatures are memorable.
I agree with that as well.
The visual
special effects, they're not terrible,
They're
but
not.
I wouldn't say they're the best.
No, they said they still hold up, and I actually don't think there were too many special effects in the movie that I was like, oh boy, that's bad early CGI.
Yeah.
I think they balance. There's some
Not
of the
even when they're going into Dino Hatton.
No, that's definitely like rough CGI, and so is when we like pan around the whole world and see anytime we see Dino Hatton at the distance, that's rough. But like when they get dissolved to go to when Mario and Koopa are dissolving to go to New York, that looks pretty good.
Yeah.
And I mean, all the fungus, as gross as it is, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And that had to take so. I have no ill things to say about the people who actually like designed the movie, because it's not their fault that this was like the vision.
Yeah.
But they made a pretty memorable looking movie, and a lot of more people will say that. Helenadorf D says the movie was shockingly clever in certain aspects of its adaptation. For example, Toad's de-evolution pays homage to the canonical fact that Goombas in the original game were toads who became loyal to Bowser.
Is that true?
And I gotta tell you, that's why we used to read the manual in the 80s and 90s of our video games, because that's where you find that stuff out.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Invicta FC fan says, I can say many nice things about this movie, but if I have to say just one in no order, I'd say the comedy is far underrated. And I mean, we've talked about a lot of the jokes. It's definitely it's stronger when it is being funny.
Yeah.
That's for sure. When it's trying to be serious and Koopa's like, Yoshi has always been the pet of the royal family.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, geez. Or like Lena's whole jealousy story is rough. But anytime the movie goes for like just kind of slapstick comedy, it kind of lands it. The whole dancing scene where Mario's trying to take the necklace from Bertha, like, I don't think that's hilarious, but it's actually like, it's decent, and you can get some good comedy out of that.
Was it Daisy when they find Daisy asks Mario how's Daniela, and he just goes, Daniela, I was gonna take her to WrestleMania.
Yep. He's worried about his date with Daniela. But again, as Julia said, who the heck is Daniela?
Yeah, exactly.
Who is Daniela?
Yeah, nobody's seen her play Mario Tennis. Lando Kirk 2 says...
I think it's Land of...
Oh, Land of Kirk. Yeah, Land of Kirk 2 says, amazing cast. Number 2, Yoshi just beat out Jurassic Park May versus June for dino effects, but doesn't get any love, which is true. I think we've already talked about that. Yoshi is a very impressive animatronic there. And 3, it's super underrated. I bet more people know of its reputation than have rarely seen it.
That's probably true.
So, yeah, I would say underseen over underrated, maybe. But I wonder how if more people knew of it because of firsthand experience versus reputation, where would we be there? There you go. Bones Skellybone says, the world of Dino Hatton is beautifully designed, the practical effects are astonishing at times, and the chemistry between Bob Hoskins' Mario and John Leguizamo's Luigi is honestly really good.
We were just talking about that.
We were just talking about that. Agreed on their chemistry, yeah. Kale Jesse, Planet Wheeler says, Bob Hoskins did a good job as Mario, and I congratulate him for working through the pain.
Yeah.
He
True
actually, I think it's his finger he broke. He slammed it into the when they shut the van door. I think his finger was caught in there and broke it. So he had to work through actual pain. Yeah.
Wow.
Not just emotional pain.
No, yeah, I know.
That too, though.
He got through it. Dennis Hopper is quoted in an interview as saying his son was like, "Why did you do this terrible movie?" And Dennis Hopper said, "Well, so you could have shoes." And his son responded, "Dad, I didn't need shoes that bad."
Oh my gosh.
Zing!
So, all right, Cal Jesse says, the production design is excellent, a completely and fully realized world. Yep. We'll have more comments on that. People are impressed. And again, that's the Blade Runner influence, I think. Mm-hmm. You can see that.
Yeah, you definitely can.
Ant Cruz 14 says, Bob Hoskin, even if they frick them all up, I still like how many characters from the Mario universe they included, and the posters look awesome. And
that's true.
If you go on the internet and look at all the different posters, they're crazy. And
I've only seen the one.
They look like a lot of like different like early 90s like maybe metal covers. It's Rolf the Whatever says Bob Hoskins. People do like Bob Hoskins.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's true.
Our Daily Brad says Mojo Nixon got a paycheck out of this. Mojo Nixon played Toad. He was an actual musician, and they wanted Tom Waits.
Oh, yeah.
In the role. Mojo Nixon got paid for it and was only in the first half because he got turned into a Goomba.
Yeah.
So, poor Toad. 13-year-old me enjoyed seeing this in the theater. And most of the reason I enjoyed this was Samantha Mathis, who went on to do a lot of different stuff. She was in American Psycho, The American President, Thomas Jane's wife in the Punisher movie.
Oh.
Also, she was in the 2004 miniseries
she was in
Salem's Lot as Susan Norton. Just Bean Test says they like the Boom Boom Bar. 2, the chemistry between the actors. And 3, Daisy is a paleontologist, which is a great career.
Yeah.
So that's pretty great. Tanuki Katoon says, I think my favorite detail that is explicitly mentioned is that everything in the city ran on electricity because they evolved from dinosaurs and there was no such thing as fossil fuels. I'm trying to figure out what you...
I just thought that was funny.
Yeah, that's true though.
Yeah.
Everything in that there is no fossil fuels. They don't have fossils.
Sorry, that just tickled me.
Aaron on Facebook says Bob Hoskins. He did a good job with the material he was given. And Hillary on Facebook says cool boots. But she also went on to say that the backwards apostrophe on the poster, because it says 93, and the backwards apostrophe is in front of the 9. So it's summer backwards apostrophe 93. She says that backwards apostrophe means she's out.
Yeah, see.
The apostrophe's backwards.
Why?
Because it's cool.
A mistake?
It's the 90s.
I don't think it's because it's the 90s. They probably just didn't.
No,
realize.
only 90 kids will get this backwards apostrophe. Thank you to everybody who wrote in those comments. I'm expecting probably a little less for Fantastic Four 2015. I don't know if that will have that cult fan base that the Mario Brothers did, but appreciate it. I gotta tell you, it actually was really nice to like read all the nice things people had to say about this movie, because I'm so used to Twitter just being a cesspool of negativity. So like when people are like saying all these like nice things, like Bob Hoskins is great, the production's, it's just like, oh, that's right. We can be nice.
Yeah.
Thank you again to the Super Mario Brother Movie Archive for that retweet. I don't think I can say I'm never going to watch this movie again, because who knows, but I definitely feel like my mileage, I'm running out of gas with this film.
Well, maybe in another 10 years you'll come back around and it'll be, you know?
Yeah, I'll be nostalgic for when we did this podcast.
Yeah, and then you can be on my podcast talking about how you're nostalgic about it.
That brings
you guys
me...
know Kendra has the podcast?
Yeah. So if you enjoyed this podcast, please, again, follow us on Twitter at Nice Things Pod, and please rate, subscribe, and share this show on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. That we greatly appreciate it. We have a whole list of bad movies, subjectively bad movies. Anytime you have comments or opinions on those movies, please share so we can read those out. Again, you can go to radiomeanwhile.com, where we'll have a forum, so you can comment there, but also on the Facebook and Twitter pages at Nice Things Pod. Where can people find you, Kendra?
On Twitter, I'm at, is it Miss Music Box 91?
It is.
Okay, at Miss Music Box 91. Forgot the 91 was on there. And I do have a podcast. It's called Nostalgia Me This, and I do it with my brother and my cousin, and each week one of us brings up a nostalgia of the week. So we just did the Bourne movies. I've brought up Mary Kate and Ashley, and we just talk about it and kind of reminisce and talk a little bit, give facts and what our thoughts on it. Does it hold up today? We also talk like nostalgia news and play fun games and things like that. So give us a listen. We're on iTunes or SoundCloud. You can listen there, and we have a Twitter at nostalgiamethis on Twitter, and an email is the same at gmail.com. So listen there.
Julia?
But if you feel like following me on Instagram, I am at Comatose, which is COMATOAST.
She was so proud about that toast spelling.
It's pretty.
So
Listen,
pretty
I've had somebody comment on one of my pictures being very upset because they thought they were the first to think of it, and I proved them wrong.
sorry about that. Okay, and then again, thank you all for listening, and hopefully we will see you next time.
Goodbye.